And now, Christian.
And now, Roxanne, tell me that you have traveled to appalling roads filled with lawless soldiers in order to join me here.
Because of your letters.
What?
The evening when, under my window, you began to reveal your soul to me in a voice I'd never heard you use before. And when I read your letters, it was like I was hearing that same voice. I could hear its tenderness enveloping me. Finally, I had to come to you. No matter what the danger, Penelope wouldn't have calmly stayed home with her weaving if Ulysses had written to her as you've written to me. Okay. Pick me up if I tried to kneel before you. So I'm placing my soul at your feet. It will always remain there. I've come to ask you to forgive me, and now is the time to ask forgiveness, since we may be about to die, for having insulted you in my frivolity, by first loving you only because you were handsome.
Oh, Roxanne!
Later, when I become a little less frivolous, I was like a bird hopping before taking flight, held back by your handsome face and drawn forward by your soul. And then I love you for both of them together.
And now?
Your true self has prevailed over your outer appearance. I now love you for your soul alone.
But Roxanne. Oh, Roxanne.
I know how painful it is for a noble heart to be loved because of an ancient nature that will soon pass away. But you can be happy now. Your thoughts outshine your face. Your handsomeness was what first attracted me. But now that my eyes are open, I no longer see it.
Oh.
Do you still doubt your victory?
Roxanne.
I understand. You can't believe in that kind of love.
I don't want it. I want to be loved. I want to be loved simply for what women have always loved you, and you till now. Let me love you in a better way. No. It was better before.
You don't know what you're saying. It's better now. I didn't really love you before. It's what makes you yourself that I now love. If you were less handsome.
Enough.
I'd still love you if you suddenly became ugly.
Oh, don't say it.
I will say it.
Even if I were ugly?
Yes, even if you were ugly. I swear I'd still love you.
My God.
Now, are you happy?
Yes.
What's the matter?
Nothing. I must go say a few words to someone. I'll take you. It will take only a minute.
But
my love has taken you away from the poor men. Go and smile at them a little since they're about to die.
Dear Christian.
Day be blessed above all others, the day when you ceased to forget my existence and came here to tell me.
Let me first thank you for humbling that arrogant fop with your sword yesterday, because he's a man whose certain great lord infatuated with me.
De Guiche?
I was trying to impose on me as a husband.
A husband only for the sake of form? I'm happy to know that I fought not only for my ugly nose, but for my beautiful eyes.
And then I wanted to tell you, but before I make my confession, give me time to see you again, as I did in the past, when I thought of you almost as my brother. We used to play in the park together beside the lake.
Yes, you came to Bergerac every summer.
You used to read for a sword. You used to read for a sword in those days.
And you used corn silk to make hair for your dolls.
We played all sorts of games.
And ate blackberries before they were ripe.
You always did what I wanted.
You weren't yet known as Roxanne. In short skirts, you were still called Magdalene.
I was pretty then.
You weren't ugly.
Sometimes you come to me with your hand bleeding from some accident, and I acted as if I was your brother, trying to make a voice stern. What is this? I'd say. Have you hurt yourself again? Oh, even now, you've done it again. No, let me see. You're still hurting yourself. At your age, what did you do this time?
I was playing again at the Porte de Nacelle. You still mother me.
While I wash away this blood, I want to describe what happened. How many were there against you?
Oh, not quite 100.
Tell me about it.
No, never mind. Tell me what you couldn't bring yourself to say just now.
Yes, I can say it now that the past has returned to encourage me. Here it is. I'm in love with someone.
Ah.
Someone who doesn't know.
Ah.
Not yet.
Ah.
But he will know soon.
Ah.
He's a poor man who till now has loved me timidly from a distance, without daring to say anything.
Ah.
Let me keep your hand. It feels feverish, but I've seen a confession of love trembling on his lips.
Ah.
It so happens, cousin, that he is a member of your regiment.
Ah.
In fact, he is a cadet in your company.
Ah.
His face shines with wit and intelligence. He's proud, noble, young, fearless, and handsome.
Handsome?
Baron Christian de Neuvillette.
Neuvillette? There's no cadet by that name.
There is now. He began serving only this morning under Captain Carbon de Jaloux.
What's your heart so quickly? But my poor girl.
I've eaten all the pastries, Monsieur de Bergerac.
Then read the poetry on the bags. My poor girl, you're so fond of fine words and gracious way. What if he should prove to be an uncultured savage?
Impossible. He has the hair of one of Earth's heroes.
His speech may be as crude as his hair is elegant.
No, there's a delicacy in everything he says. I feel it.
Yes, all words are delicate when they come from lips adored with a shapely mustache. But what if he's a fool?
Then I'll die. There, are you satisfied?
You brought me here to tell me this? I confess I don't quite understand.
It's because someone terrified me yesterday by telling me that most of your company are Gascons
and that we always provoke a duel with any newcomer who gains the favor of being admitted among us without being Gascon? Is that what you were told?
Yes, you can imagine how I tremble for him when I hear it.
And with good reason.
But when I saw you yesterday, great and invincible, punishing that scoundrel and holding all of those brutes at bay, I said to myself, everyone fears him. If he were willing to...
Very well, I'll protect your little baron.
Oh, I knew you would. I've always had such a tender affection for you.
Yes, yes.
You'll be his friend?
I will.
And he'll never have a duel.
No, I promise.
I knew I was right to like you so much. And now I must go. But you haven't told me about your battle last night. It must have been incredible. Tell him to write to me. Oh, I love you.
Yes, yes.
Tell him to write 100 men. You'll tell me about it some other time. I can't stay now. I have 100 men. What courage.
Oh, I've done better since then.
Cyrano, will you tell us your story now?
Not now, a little later.
The story of Cyrano's combat will be the best lesson for this new apprentice. Apprentice?
Yes, you sickly northerner.
Sickly?
Monsieur de Neuvillette, it's time for you to learn something. There's a certain object that we all avoid naming as scrumptiously as we would refrain from mentioning the rope in the house of man whose father had been hanged.
What is it?
Look at me. Do you understand?
I think so. You must be...
Shh. You must never speak that word. If you do, you will have to deal with him. He's already killed 2 men because they had nasal voices. The slightest allusion to that protuberance and untimely death. 1 word is enough, even a gesture. If you take out your handkerchief, you've taken out your shroud.
Captain!
Yes?
What should one do when the Southerners become too boastful?
Prove that Northerners can be courageous.
Thank you.
Now tell us your story.
Your story.
My story? Well, I was walking alone to meet them. The moon was gleaming like a big silver watch in the sky when suddenly some heavenly hand slipped into the pocket of the clouds. The sky was black as pitch and there were no lights in the street. I couldn't see.
Beyond the end of your nose.
Who is this man?
He came only this morning.
This morning?
His name is Baron de Noël.
Oh, very well. As I was saying, Mortius, it was so dark that I couldn't see anything. I walked on, thinking that for sake of a poor drunkard, I was about to anger some powerful nobleman who would surely
Resent your nosiness?
bear a grudge against me, and that I was rashly putting
Your nose into?
myself into a bad situation, because that nobleman might
Look down his nose at you?
be able to make things a bit difficult for me. But I said to myself, come Gaston, do what has to be done. Onward, Cyrano. A moment later, someone
Nosed you out in the darkness.
lunged at me with his sword. I parried the thrust and suddenly found myself
Nose to nose.
No! By all the saints in heaven, I found myself facing 100 shouting brutes, all smelling
With their noses, of course.
of onions and cheap wine. I plunged into the midst of them,
Nose first.
and I immediately cut down 2 of them. As I was tapping a third, I saw the sword.
Right under your nose.
Out! All of you, get out!
The tiger has finally awakened.
Leave me alone with this man.
He'll soon be turned into mincemeat. Mincemeat? Yes, ready to be baked into one of your pie crusts. I feel faint in his limb as a napkin. Let's go! There won't be anything left on him. It makes me tremble just to think what is going to happen to him. It will be something horrifying.